Panthers Nation, what is going on? First of all, before we get too far into the show, just so I can get this out of the way for myself, for those that are listening or will be listening to the audio version of the podcast, which you can listen to directly on anywhere you get your podcast, I want to make a notation that you're listening to the live stream episode. So typically I divide up my live stream with a recorded episode, but tonight, man, we're getting back from Thanksgiving. I have a lot of content to record, so we're doing it in one push tonight. Man, oh man. I mean, if y'all follow me on X, y'all know how frustrating that game was. Oh, it just hurts. It does. Panthers deserved to win that game. They dominated, man. There was no reason why they couldn't pull that out, but they didn't. And when the ball bounced at the very end, it just didn't bounce in their favor. And now we really look towards next year. But looking towards next year, there's a positive, and it's a very big positive, and it has to do with the quarterback play of Bryce Young. This guy has made a complete 180. And I don't know if you are in the camp of not liking Bryce Young or you didn't like Bryce Young. To be honest, I don't know what else you want to see. This dude is delivering. He's putting the team on his back. He's leading game-winning drives. He can't control what he cannot control. He put the team in a position to win, put the team in a position to score. His wide receivers dropped balls. We had some missed field goals. We had missed opportunities in the red zone. And yeah, you could probably say some of that is on Bryce for, missing a throw or two. We had a touchdown to Adam Thielen that was taken off the board. It was just ripped out from underneath us. And for whatever reason, it was not the Panthers' day. But if you are a fan of the Carolina Panthers, I can never tell you how you should feel. I can only tell you how I feel. And I feel really good about this team. It sucks. Like, there's no easy way around this. There's no easy way to say, man, that was so fun. I love going and watching the Panthers lose on Sundays. It's not. We all know the diehards that are here the diehards that showed up at the stadium, those that are still in this thing as this team battles with 3 wins. Like, we love it. We want to see the team be successful. It's hard to pivot to next year, but I think the bright spot, like I said, is in Bryce Young, and he gives you the ability. Now, I mean, we could get way, way ahead of ourselves. I know we're going to need a backup of some sorts. And I don't know what Canales' lean is going to be and what Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis want. The backup lean could be a reliable veteran. It could be a Russell Wilson. It could be a Justin Fields. It could be a Geno Smith if he gets out of Seattle. It could be someone else. But to me, I think the panic button that a lot of folks were pressing much, much earlier in the year, and I was one of them. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I didn't say he needed to sit, that I didn't say he was done. But we now have an opportunity to copy and paste exactly what we just did on the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, get some guys healthier, have some of these playmakers. I mean, you look at Shaw Smith-Wade, you look at Trevin Wallace, and I know Trevin Wallace had some ups and downs today too. You look at a J.C. Horn, a young core defense paired along with some veterans. And then you just draft a bunch of defensive playmakers. Now, that's not to say I still don't believe, or I still think that we have to get another receiver in here. And I know there's growing pains. You got to help your quarterback out. And Adam Thielen did that today. My gosh, those acrobatic catches. The one, I mean, you can second guess things all day. I think it was smart for the Panthers to run the ball like they did. Chuba Hubbard is reliable. He doesn't fumble in those situations. He doesn't fumble in general. I know the Giants game, that was kind of a weird situation, but you put the ball in your playmakers' hands. You let them run the ball. You set yourself up. Eddie was having a tough day. Do you want to make this a chip shot or easier field goal if possible? So you run the ball for 2 or 3 plays, let the clock burn, take your shot. There was in my opinion, I think there's a lot of ways to look at this. Did the defense play lights out? No, they're not a top 10 defense for a reason. However, the defense made plays. They made sacks in critical situations. You go back into overtime, forcing them back out of field goal range. You are pushing them back further. You look at what they did in the red zone at the goal line to give us a chance. Like if Tampa Bay scores a touchdown there, which I know they could elect to kick and go up by 8, but they could have gone for 2. Either way, it would have been a much more difficult game to come back from. They did their job. They got to the quarterback. They forced turnovers. They hit Baker Mayfield so hard, he got put out of the game. And it was a clean hit. It was not dirty. It was a good tackle. So by Josie Jewell, it sucks, man. It sucks to lose. Nobody likes to lose. What really sucks is, like, this is their job. And there's, like, for us, we can walk away from it. Like, wins and losses are their measuring sticks for success. Like, it's a tough spot to be in, man. Overall, I know a lot of people may question Canales' play calling a little bit, why we elected to get away from the run. I don't have an answer for that. I have not listened to the post-game presser. I am going to try something new on tonight's episode and potentially play the audio. I've got the audio clipped. Well, not clipped, but pulled out. Same thing with Bryce Young and his presser. So I may try to run those through later on once we start going through some of the stats. But it stinks, man. It does. Like, the Panthers did the right thing, and you give Baker Mayfield 30 seconds. I say this just like we did when we scored against Kansas City. The Panthers are not a good enough team to sit back and wait and say, oh, we'll punch it in eventually, or I'll go down at the 2-yard line and then we'll run the ball in. If you score, you score. And doesn't matter what time is left, this team is not good enough to do that. And you pay the price. For whatever reason, the team could not guard Mike Evans. I'm ready for him to retire. Please retire, Mike Evans. Get out of Tampa Bay for the love of God. Get out. Oh, man. I'm so tired of seeing Mike Evans continue to dominate. No, he didn't really have like a home run like he usually does, but I'm just tired of seeing him on the sideline. He's one of those players. I put him up there with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. Like get those guys out of the division. I respect the crap out of those guys. Excellent football players. I'm just tired of having to go against them 2 times a year. I can't take it. Speaking of big time performance tonight too, of course, we'll get into the box score here in a little bit, but we got to give a hat tip to Tommy Trimble. My guy still he made a stand for himself. Tommy Trimble has not been great this year. I know he's battled injuries. It's a contract year. He's worked closely with Chuba Hubbard. So you got to think like, hey, he's got to start showing us a little something. I mean, I think there's a good case to bring him back. But when we see a performance tonight, that's something that we want. We need another pass-catching tight end paired along. Think about Jatavian Sanders when healthy. I'll take it. I mean, the wide receiving core that Bryce Young had to work with just underperformed. And I said this to Xavier Legette. Rumor has it, and I'm a big fan, rumor has it that the jugs machine is open after practice. And I feel like Chuba Hubbard would love company. I know some other folks have said that, but you have to make those plays for your quarterback. You can't have drops, misses. And I know there are some difficult catches to be made, but you're in the NFL, man. This is the big boy game. You got to be able to make those plays on Sundays if you want to win football. And that's what Tampa Bay did. I hate the fumble. I do. Like, Chuba Hubbard's a really good player. Also, and kind of diverting back, but man, Eddie Piñeiro's misses, I felt like that was just a jinx walking into that because all we talked about was, or on the broadcast was like 41 in a row, most in a row since Gano at Bank of America Stadium. And then you have that. It wasn't his day. I think if you wanted to question Canales in some of those situations as well, that would make sense. Why not go for it? When it was closer there, why settle for points? Maybe he did address that in the post game. We'll hear in a little bit. One thing I will say, I tweeted this out. There was, I don't know who asked it, but I just saw the clip of Bryce's response to falling on the football or not falling on the football. Like, he was not close to it. And let's not even let's not make this a thing. Whatever happened there. And sure, I'd love the quarterback to fall on the football, but I don't think he could have made the play. I don't think he could have fallen on it. He was the best player on the field for the offense all day today, maybe outside of the offensive line. Hats off to the offensive line. Offensive line continues to shine, man. You look at the pressure that they bring, their ability to pick it up in most situations. I know we had 1 sack, but across the entire game and into overtime, giving Bryce a chance. Bryce Young being smart enough with the ball. He looks comfortable. I know people want to reference him, and I do too, as Bama Bryce. I don't really care what you call him. He looks like an NFL quarterback, which is not something that he looked like 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, 7, 8, 9, 10, heck, even last year. I don't know that we would have thought, hey, this is the quarterback of the future. So I think if you're trying to find a positive out of the situation, that's got to be it. Now, we can complain all we want about the defense. There's only so much that they can do. We know the rushing defense is not great. I don't know if it's scheme, personnel, just not good. And it's not going to get better overnight. Like, we're not going to flip a switch and have 4 or 5 all pros, pro bowlers just showing up on this team. So you got to take it in stride. Do what you can and have these younger guys continue to grow. I think the biggest question we're going to have is what is the future of Evero? I don't know. I know some people are really upset. They're like, they want him out now. I understand it's been a bad year. He does have moments, but it's not enough. So it does feel like the writing is on the wall. And you would think that Dave Canales, who had Evero here under contract, that considering the growth that we've seen on the offensive side of the ball, he's going to have a chance to get his guy in here this offseason. I think it's going to happen. But anyways, all right, let's go ahead and dive into the stat lines here in a second. I guess before we get too far into that, let's take a look at some of the comments. Judy Chops. Oh, I love the name Judy Chop. Way too many drops. Got to be more aggressive on 4th down. Eddie has to make kicks. I agree. Worst I've ever felt about a loss, but that means we are competing every game. Let's ride. Hey, got to agree with that. It's been a solid 4 games in a row. I mean, you went toe-to-toe with Kansas City. Bryce Young has a speech to the locker room after. For the first 20-ish games of Bryce Young's career in Carolina, it felt like he was the one holding us back. And you showed up on Sunday and you're like, well, are we going to get a first down today? Or are we going to get a touchdown? That was kind of the offense that was here with him at the helm. We know it felt a little bit different with Andy for a short little while, but it feels good, man. And it's going to be it is a tough stretch, but you can continue to throw punches. You think back to Campbell's first year in Detroit, winning 3 games. We're at that mark. If you can build up the defensive side of the ball, you just got to continue to do what you're doing. And I think as much as losing sucks, hopefully we're heading in the right direction. At least that's what it feels like. Brian said, a lot to blame going around. The defense really should have stopped them. That is one good point. As much as I want to, give a little bit of a hat tip to the defense, I don't know where to pin this. I think I'd put it on the defensive play calling. I don't know how much the defense itself, maybe both. We did the same thing against the New York Giants. I know the New York Giants had a little more time. We didn't play off as much, but we gave them, we know Mike Evans is getting the ball. That is the target. And we give them an opportunity to make a throw to Mike Evans. And that did it. And then lose contained in the pocket with Baker Mayfield. And it's another week with the quarterback scrambling down. Too easy. And it wasn't as big of a game as our man, Patrick Mahomes. It was still a big run. Sucks. Ryan said, I have no idea why Canales didn't kick the field goal after the one-handed catch. It was hurt. Chuba doesn't. Yeah. I think it was just a situation you want to get a little bit closer. I don't know if you were at the beginning, but I felt like they just want to get a little bit closer, give them an opportunity. You do. XL's been I saw someone else say it, called him a body catcher. Yeah, he's got to learn to catch with his hands. Like we said, Jugs machines or the Jugs machine is open. Missed call on Thielen. Total BS, man. Yep, I agree. All right, let me hop over here. We'll take a look at the box score. Oh, boy. Late kickoff at Bank of America, 4:05. A little bit chilly weather. Here's your starting lineups. I mean, I'm primarily focused on the Panthers. Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, Ike Ekwonu, Damian Lewis, Cade Mays, Robert Hunt, Taylor Moton, Tommy Trimble, David Moore, Bryce Young, and Chuba Hubbard. On the defensive side of the ball, DJ Wonnum, Sean Robinson, Shai Tuttle, Brian Ray, Clowney, Jewell, Wallace, Horn, Jackson, Woods, and Fuller. A lot of substitutions. The other thing that was weird, snap counts will come out tomorrow. I got something to say too in a second as I look at this. Singh did not play. I don't know, and it's not a knock on Raheem Blackshear. I saw him in there, and I don't know the snap count. I don't know if it was just one play or two plays or why. I saw Raheem Blackshear in the game over Jonathan Brooks. Have to question that. At one point you're going to have to see this two-back set with Jonathan Brooks and Chuba Hubbard, because I think that 1-2 punch there. I know a lot of teams are one back now, but we did get to see it for, I think, like one play. I want to see a lot more of that. So did not play. And I think this is kind of eye-opening. Maybe not. Dane Jackson, man, he has had a rough couple of weeks here. He did not play at all today. We saw a lot out of Shaw Smith-Wade, who had a heck of a game. Those that were not active, which we knew, Jatavian Sanders, Jalen Coker, Jamie Robinson, Bartholomew, Evans, Kingston, and Crumedy. This game makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Let's jump down into, takes a second, your box score. 21 rush attempts on the day, 43 yards for Chuba Hubbard. Not a good day, 3.6 per carry. I mean, they did play the run really well. Jonathan Brooks, 6 for 18. Bryce Young with the touchdown, scrambling. He also made a few nice runs. He was 3 carries, 17 yards. I feel like you got to run the ball a little bit more. I know Bryce had a great day, but 46 pass attempts. You got to mix in a little bit of run, man. And I guess they did mix and run at the very end, and it shot him in the foot. But, man, what a day. And we'll get into the Bucs in a second. What a day for Bryce Young. 26 of 46. Not fantastic completion percentage, but 298 yards. There was a few drops out there that would have had him over 300. Could have had 2 passing touchdowns, but 1 sack, 1 touchdown, 83.4 passer rating. On the Tampa Bay side, Irving went completely off, and the Bucs figured it out. And it's like the Bucs, the alarm went off, and they said, "Oh yeah, Carolina has a terrible run defense. Let's run the ball." That's what happened. 25 attempts, 152 yards, 1 touchdown, 6.1 per carry. White, 76 yards rushing, 6.9 per carry. Mayfield had 3 for 8, along with 10, 236 yards on the ground. I gave the defense flowers on some things, but I cannot give them flowers on stopping the run. I don't know what it is. They just gash us left and right. As you can see, 6 yards per carry. Do you know what that means? You are putting yourself in a position to have 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3. When you start off a drive or you can get 6 yards per pop, that sucks. Baker Mayfield, 21 of 33, 235 yards, sacked 4 times. Defense really, like I said, I know they struggled in some places. They made plays in others. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I mean, we took the ball away and just had an unfortunate turnover at the end. Receiving, Adam Thielen kind of coming back into his groove, 8 for 99, 1 touchdown. Trimble, 5 for 77. David Moore, 5 for 40. Leggett, 4 for 53. And Brooks, who it was a little check down pass, and he took that thing for 18 yards. Really nice pickup, 3 for 23. I expect more of Brooks in the passing game. And then, yeah, this is part of the squad that you have. You have a practice squad player in Chisena, Felipe Franks, and Sullivan. I mean, we're just running like this is the crew that we have to work with, and we're still competitive. Mike Evans, as we mentioned, and as we know, God, dude, 8 for 118, 1 touchdown. Shepard, 4 for 42. Otten, 4 for 20, 3 for 33, Mellon, 2 for 25. Irving had over 180 yards, total purpose yards. Ridiculous. Interceptions, Xavier Woods had 1. had a good return as well. And then Shaw Smith-Wade. Punting, it wasn't a great day for punting for Johnny Hecker. 5 attempts, 192 yards, 38.4 average. They did a little bit better on their side of the ball. Punt returns, and we did not have a kickoff return. And we were really fortunate on the Bucs kicking procedure where we got the ball at the 40. That was, I was like, hey, I'll take that. I don't know what y'all were trying to do, but giving us good field position like that, take that all day long. Chuba Hubbard with the fumble that we lost. Baker Mayfield had 2, did not lose either. So, oh man, tough day. Let's look at the final stats in the box score. 27 first downs to 19. A lot of those, I mean, we'll look at the first half stats, so we'll know for sure. It feels like a lot came in the second half. Let's see. We had 3 first downs on the ground. Not a good day running the ball. Third down, we were 6 for 16, 37%. Our third down defense was great. 2 for 12. We've been hovering around almost 50%. And they were 1 for 1 on fourth down. Total yards, I mean, you could do the math, but 445 to 367. Not great. 77 offensive plays to 68 in their favor. 5.8 yards per play to their 5.4. They dominated rushing. We talked about passing as well. I mean, tough day. Penalties, even on the number, 7 for 54 and on their side, and we were 7 for 62. Red zone efficiency, that will hurt you. We were 1 for 4, 25%. You got to convert some of those. You have to score, and we saw it last week. We score a touchdown last week, a touchdown this week. Don't have to kick field goals. Make a field goal. Totally different ball games. You're talking about the Panthers winning, could be winning 4 games in a row and right in the mix for the NFC South, but they're not. So we have to just keep on. Oh, man. Look at your ball possession and drive chart for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 15 total possessions. Of course, it helps when you have overtime. You get a few extra. Punt, touchdown, punt, field goal, interception. That was the end of the half. Came out with a punt, an interception, touchdown, field goal. We shut them out in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, they came alive. And, I mean, that's going to happen. You can't let a team hang around. You don't score points. You let them hang around, they're going to take over. And that's exactly what happened. Then we saw the missed field goal and the field goal made in overtime. Their average starting field position was their 30-yard line. We actually did, in the first half, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 3 and outs. So really there was only 2 drives where we didn't have a 3 and out. Much better. Well, I guess the one was an interception, so technically not a 3. But on the, go back on the Panthers side of the ball. Punt, field goal, missed field goal, touchdown, missed field goal. Oh, that hurts. Field goal, punt, another field goal, punt, touchdown, and the fumble to close the game. Time of possession, the Bucs dominated in the fourth quarter, 10:50 to 4 minutes. Dominated in overtime as well, which makes sense. I mean, they had 2 possessions, but 39 to 27 was your final breakdown there. Defensively, I don't really care about Tampa, no offense. Talk about the Panthers. Josie Jewell led the way with 10 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 quarterback hit. Shaw Smith-Wade right there behind him with 8 total tackles, the 1 interception, and 1 pass deflection. Fuller had 8. Xavier Woods had 7, also with the other interception. Trevin Wallace with 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Clowney with a sack. Barno, how about Barno? Welcome back, Barno, man. All these playmakers. DJ Wanham didn't get there today, but Barno's been another guy that battling back from the ACL injury. Got to see him go out there, make his impact known, and just sucks, man. Also, and I don't remember the drive. I don't think it ended up hurting, but whenever the Panthers had that penalty, was it in overtime or was it before? Was it with the 30 seconds left? Whenever we had the stupid penalty on, I can't, man. I'm shot. First half. Let's take a look because I did want to look at this. Yeah, so Panthers led 221 yards to 146, 12-11 first downs. The Panthers didn't do, we know they didn't really move the ball too much in the second half. Rushing, 35 rushing yards. Passing yards, Bryce Young had 186 passing yards in the first half. Really solid performance for him. He was 15 of 26, 186 yards. Baker Mayfield was 7 of 16, 96 yards. Did have the one touchdown and one interception. Also talking about officiating, just because, you know what, we can complain all we want. It's not going to do anything. The first touchdown where they ended up calling Mike Evans and under J.C. Horn, it might have been actually Jackson, the pass interference. I can't. Very next play, you have them pushing off. Oh, I don't know, man. Just a frustrating day. Let's look at the last bit here. Hopefully we'll get to it. I'm going to scroll through this because I don't really care about, I don't really care too much about overtime because game's over. They won. I was going to look at the explosive plays, big plays, and then switch over here in a sec. Try to do this. Here we go. All right. So the 10 longest plays for the Panthers. You had 8 plays over 15 yards. Not bad at all. Longest play was the pass to Tommy Tremble. It was 38 yards. The touchdown in the fourth quarter to Adam Thielen was 25 yards. Man, Adam Thielen just Mr. Reliable. Should have had the 2 touchdowns. Fantastic acrobatic catch. And, excuse me, nice pick, or Chuba Hubbard. We gave up, man. That run with Irving, 43 yards. It looks like they were about to score. The defense bowed up. That's the thing. They gave up the big play. They sold out, but they bowed up, and they ended up forcing the field goal. Like a game, like we said, could have been over. But frustrating times, man. Sucks. Loss is a loss. But all things considered, I do feel better looking ahead with Bryce Young. I guess largest lead, don't really care. Panthers actually had some time of possession while leading, which doesn't really happen. We led for about 7 minutes of the game. All those games last year of never having a lead. And like we said, Bryce Young, I know it doesn't count, but that's 2 weeks in a row. It's not game winning because we didn't win, but a potential game winning drive or, scored a tie or go ahead. And, that stinks, man. Let's see. Hop back over here, y'all. Try to get caught up as best I can. Maybe. And then we're going to try to pull up the Canales presser. Brian said, I was critical when Bryce deserved criticism. However, I'm man enough to give him praise when he deserves it. He looks like a franchise quarterback. I agree. We're starting to see it, man. It feels good. I hate losing. Rock says, I hate losing even though I know we're turning the corner. Same. Oh, man, he's going right at it. Just says, I hate Chuba. right out of the gate. It's rough. Oh, it's tough, man. It is tough. Mike Jackson looks timid in run defense, and why Evero starts Fuller over Richardson is beyond comprehension. Yeah, I'd love to see more Richardson too. I think that'll be part of the turning corner there. One was not enough. He says, "I hate Chuba again." Cuba Hubbard. It's not really Chuba, but if we had Shaq and Brown, we'd have won the last two. Yeah, you got to feel like it. Yep. And I haven't had a chance to listen. I was actually going to try to play that here in a second to close out the episode. I have Canales and Bryce Young's presser. Lots of mistakes. I mean, all around. It's just another day as a Panthers fan. Hopefully, we won't have too many more of these. I hope the corner is turning for this team. I hated the scramble, man. It was like another week, same thing happening. Ricky said, Thielen got robbed of a touchdown. I'm loving the growth of our Panthers. Keep pounding, and Panthers fans don't blame Chuba. There was a lot of things that went wrong. Yeah, it was across the board. It was absolutely across the board. Nate, folks, I guess I should say, if you are not subscribed, because I don't promote this enough, please hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. That's all you got to do. I don't ask for anything else. And if you want to participate in the show, you can comment here on YouTube or directly on X. Those are the two places we stream. I will one day not be lazy, and I'll get this connected back to Facebook, because there are a few people still over on Facebook that tune into the show. Every time Bryce passes for 200 yards, we lose. Run the dang ball, Canales. Oh, yeah. Gamecocks, man. I got catching up on all content for folks. I did not get to post or create anything this week, which y'all could see. We were in South Carolina for Thanksgiving, but we got to watch the game yesterday. So I will say I'm sorry to all the Clemson fans that had to endure. Gamecocks pulled it off at the end. However, Clemson gets their chance at redemption in the ACC championship. And I just looked up today, Clemson has not lost at Bank of America, speaking of Panthers, at Bank of America Stadium in the ACC championship. They are 7-0. It's going to be like a home game for them. I got all that. I'm not going to get too far, but I guess I do have college fans on here. I got college football content coming out after this. Well, I say coming out, I have to record it, but it'll be coming through. Yes. Judy Chops again. Love the name. Said we need to talk about the amazing job Morgan did with the draft. He really did. It has been a great year with a lot of these young playmakers. We're starting to see Brooks. I wish Canales would kind of just give. I don't know I understand Chuba's RB1. I'd love to split some carries. I don't know if it's every other drive, if it's every 3 drives. As a running back, you can't really get into your rhythm if you're not out there running the ball. So I'd like to see, and like we saw the discrepancy, 40 plus passes to 20-ish rush attempts. That's not going to cut it. Yep. All that winning, they can't get a player drafted by the Panthers. I know. I don't know what their hate is towards them. All right, folks, we're going to try something new. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I mean, I know it's going to work, but I don't know just like context-wise how this is going to go. I'm going to try to play the Canales press conference and stop it in between maybe and talk, but we'll go ahead and I'll let it run. This is Dave Canales following the loss today. I've not listened to it, so I'm not prepared, so I have no idea what he's going to say, but we'll let it run and get going.
Story of the day, just we got to control the things that we can control. We got to make our kicks. We got to take care of.
Yep. Got to make your kicks. A1, day one. Already know that. Start from the gate.
There, we're in a field goal position right there to be able to win the game in overtime. And, just the execution all across the board. It's just.
Canales isn't big on calling guys out, but I at least appreciate that he's, you got to do it. You got to call out Eddie in a way. I love Eddie Pinheiro, and you also calling out Chuba Hubbard, ball security.
All across the board, it's just there's some good football in there and there's some bad football, and we got to continue to attack it, but it's just the things that we gave away. It was a bright spot to get a couple of interceptions, got some points off of that. But again, 104 in the red zone with opportunities there,
Yep. We talked about it. 1 of 4 in the red zone. You can't do that. Got to put up some points. Got to put up touchdowns, not field goals. You can't miss field goals. It's a broken record, but it's all true.
It's the story of the game right there. It sends it into overtime. So we just got to play. We got to play better as a group. To come away with these games where we're playing good football for parts of it. But we have to put together a full complement of quarters, a full finish to become the team that we want to become.
What was their explanation on the Thielen catch at the end of the half, catch, non-catch, and
asking about the Thielen catch? I don't know how well y'all can hear that, but just a reference.
Yeah, they called it incomplete, and there was some movement in the ball. I thought he had control going down. He got his knee down, but it's a close call. And then they called incomplete to start, so it's hard to turn those over. When
I just want Dave Canales to come out and rip one. It's not his personality, and I know he would get fined, but wouldn't it be nice one day for him to just come out to the podium and rip the officiating? Like today would be a really good day for that. I do agree. It really ticks me off that however many days, 6 other days out of the week, 99 other times, that's a touchdown. I really don't understand how the official who is right there calls it incomplete, because that is part of this. Like, I know I'm ticked off about it, but you call it incomplete on the field, it's going to be hard to overturn. Call it, looks like a touchdown, whatever.
Hard to turn those over, when they've called it one way and there is a little bit of movement there. So you gotta go with the officials on that one.
Dave, to think you have it twice and then to not, what's your message to the team in terms of kind of keeping their spirits up after this?
It was just the same message I gave to all of you. It's the things that we control, the things that were well within our control in terms of just getting down there to, in field goal range, coming away with points there, taking care of the ball at the end right there, because that's on us, So that's the point to, drive it home to the team. It was the same message that I just gave to all of you.
Yep. Agree. Control what we can control. And that's all you can do. For those that are just now tuning in, we're listening to the Dave Canales presser from today, because I had not listened to it.
Quarterback play today.
I thought he played great. I thought he made some critical throws in critical situations. He got us out of some bad ones, threw the ball away a couple times when it was an aggressive day. They blitzed a lot, and he handled it well again. So, and gave us a chance to win for sure on those last couple of drives.
Coach, as the rebuild continues, how important is it to have players like Robert Hunt buy into the system?
Yeah, all the guys that we're counting on, just all of them just coming together as a group to find the finish, to find the consistency that we've been looking for that to carry over and for it to sustain. It can't be here and there. It's got to be the whole time that we have to grasp that part.
That part's hard for me too. As much as I want to get excited, there's so much that changes year to year in the NFL. You look at the somewhat down year that San Francisco is having and other teams. It's hard to say that, what you're doing this year is going to carry over, because things change. Like rosters turn over. Potentially you're looking at a new defensive staff. So it really is day to day, week to week, month to month, game to game, and how you can go from there. So it's tough, man. As much as I want to say, here's the copy and paste recipe for how you go from 3 wins to 6 to 9 to 10 to 12 to making the playoffs. You're never guaranteed anything. But I do think the foundation at least seems to be there. When you have a solid foundation in Dave Canales, which I feel comfortable saying there's a good foundation there. Feels like he's building something here in Carolina. And at least from what we can assume, it feels like Tepper is far out of the picture, which is, I think, all that anyone could ask if you are a fan.
Outside of Bryce's scrambles, there's 18 rushing attempts. What's the sweet spot for you guys in the game after passing the ball, please?
This is a good question, asking about rushing attempts.
Specific number. I think that, we were having some success throwing the ball as well. The run averages, some of the runs look pretty good. They made it hard on us early on. But, we kept mixing it in there. We'd love to have more, but I don't know if there's a specific number if you put yourself in position to win the game.
What do you say to
I feel like if you're going to say you're going to be a running team, you can't pass the ball more than double the times you run it. Just you don't have to throw out a number, but you at least got to be like 50-50 and not 60-40 or 70-30, which is closer to what the team has been.
What do you say to Chuba after one like that?
Fundamentals. Just take care of the ball. You know what you got. You got your yardage there. Okay, lock it up like we talk about, just the basics. He'd be the first one to come up here and tell you the same thing.
You guys made the decision to play Sean.
I also saw folks saying that Chuba kind of took it personally, which I expect with how hard he works post game and sat on the field for a little bit. So I don't think you want to say soaking it in, but I think kind of the part of it was quote unquote soaking it in. I'm going to let this run a second, but CD said, would you replace Evero? Yes. I understand jobs are on the line. I know there are coaches that follow the show, players that follow the show, and I understand the dynamics of all that, but it feels like the Mac Brown situation in North Carolina in a way. Like, we can prop this thing up all we want with Evero and give him all the excuses and reasons, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be time. So yeah, I think it is time that we're going to be moving on. At least just my opinion. Keep going.
He comes up with that big interception. When you make those big decisions and a guy immediately responds to them, how much does that justify the program you guys are trying to build and the overall arching chemistry you guys are trying to build here?
Yeah, it's about opportunity. And when guys get these opportunities to get back in there, to show us what they can do, and they make plays, that's great, and that gives us a lot of confidence, in the young guys to get out there. But again, I got to watch the film and see what the rest of the film looked like for Shaw. But that was certainly a huge play for us.
You mentioned the red zone. The one late in the game, you went to Jonathan on 5 consecutive.
Sorry. Really big game and positive words for Shaw Smith-Wade. I think he is going to be the new nickel, and a lot of folks are calling that out today. Dane Jackson was a Dan Morgan guy, but don't know how much longer he's going to be here based off of what we've seen.
Jonathan on 5 consecutive touches. Why did you do that and kind of got away from Chuba there?
We were moving the line of scrimmage. He happened to be in on that drive, and he was doing.
I also agree. I think I tweeted when it happened. I liked feeding the ball to Brooks there, trying to get Brooks involved and get him in and score. It didn't happen, but I did not like the call, so I was a fan of it. Probably could have had a little bit better play design, but I like trying to get Brooks into the end zone and get going.
Checkdowns to make some yards too. So really encouraged by his progress from the first week to the second. It was great to get him some touches so he can get that experience that he needs.
There were a couple of 4th and shorts you opted to kick, 2 misses by.
That's good. I've been waiting to hear what his stance was going to be regarding kicking instead of going for it.
By Pinero. What is your philosophy on going for those short distance 4th downs?
Yeah, trying to get points, and I think if you miss a couple, it makes you get, feel like maybe we should be a little bit more aggressive, when we go, if we get another opportunity that way.
You said Bryce played great.
I still feel like there was at least one of those where you're a 3-win football team. Sometimes you got to play with those cards, and I think I saw someone said Tampa was a 5-win team or on the cusp of being a playoff team, and they were going for it in certain situations. And I do think the Panthers, come on. I know you're playing the analytics game. We heard Canales saying he's trying to take in analytics. I think sometimes you just got to do it, man. And you're playing with house money in these situations.
That's all that was great.
Just the operation, being decisive with the ball, knowing that they were giving us a bunch of different looks and handling the challenge of it, and really, studying the film throughout the week to find the voids in the different, pressures and things that they brought. So just, again, the decisiveness of play is what's really critical, at the position, and he did a great job of that today.
Was a really good day for Bryce Young. I'm also bringing up Rock's comment. Evero's 2 failed corner blitzes on 3rd downs were killer. Both were quick screens. They played it perfectly, man. I agree. It's like if you're going to bring pressure, you got to affect the play, but it was like the perfect play call, and I think it's Baker Mayfield who I mean, to be fair, I know I've talked a lot about the Panthers. Got to give kudos to Baker Mayfield for winning. It's what he's been doing. It's what he's done since he's left Carolina, and he did it. And he played. I saw unrelated that he also discussed the planting the flag in his post-game presser, which I'm all for. Plant the dang flags all you want. I'm a North Carolina fan. You can't see it. It's up there. NC State, all day. Plant the dang flag. We need that. We're too damn soft. I know I don't cuss on this show, but good God, we're too soft as a society. Sure, don't get pepper spray out. And I know I'm going way off tangent, but plant the flag, man. I even think they should just make that like screw the trophies. Let the kids, if that's what you want to do, let the winning team plant a flag and paint their logo in these rivalry games. Bring it to the NFL while we're at it. Anyways, all right, that's way too far down of a tangent in college football world after a Panthers loss.
The outcome, how much confidence do you get in your offense when they're able to drive the ball into scoring position in those high pressure late game situations?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. The chemistry is growing, and the trust factor, all those things are headed in the right.
All without Jonathan Mingo or Deontay Johnson, who don't seem to be doing too well. Their other homes.
But you got to do it for 4 quarters, and there was some lulls in the middle of it too, and so some of the execution stuff we'll look at and continue to grow from. But for the guys to see that we can do this, we can make this happen, when everybody does right, but it's the whole thing. It's all 3 phases.
I understand that you're on the offensive side of the ball. This is the second week where the defense has not been able to really get that late game stop. How do you guys fix that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Vashti too. She does fantastic work. I love the questions too, but let's also just shouting her out and keep listening. Carolina Blitz and Sheena Quick, they listen. All of our folks are great, but they will listen to what fans want to hear, and they ask those questions, which is something I really appreciate.
Rush lanes, making sure the guys are playing the right leverage in the coverages, the things that we're asking them to do. So we'll get a look at all that on film, and we'll attack it for sure.
Dave, is there an emotional weight that you have to shake when the game ends this way?
Absolutely, because it's the things that were controllable, just going back to that, and if we can.
Yep. Just like we said, I think it's just as frustrating for them, probably more frustrating for them than it is us, knowing that the opportunities, talk a lot about missed opportunities, they were there. Everyone knows it.
If we can own those things, then we'll play to what we're capable of playing.
Coach, I didn't know if you knew, but Sam Franklin came sprinting over to the Bucs side just a second ago and was.
Oh, yeah. How many people saw the postgame of Sam Franklin? He was heated, and I don't know what happened, the why behind it, but I did see the clips before I got on here. He bolted trying to get into the Bucs locker room. I don't know what he was pissed about, but he was bad.
A second ago and was shouting for a fight. I didn't know if you were aware of that.
I was not.
Okay.
I was not aware of that.
Going back to Chuba, I think the play Joe asked about the series where Brooks had all the carries. You only had 9 carries for Chuba at that point, and he's been your workhorse, and you've been talking about him being a. Did you feel like you just guys got away from the running game?
I just thought that was the way that that drive played out, and we were getting good movement, so we wanted to kind of stay with it. And Brooks was out there, and I thought he did a good job. Again, I got to watch the film to see what was actually there in all those runs, but that was just the situation of where we're at in that drive.
What should have been done differently on the defensive side with 30 seconds left, and they went 30 or 40 yards to get that tying field goal?
I got to watch the film to give you a real clear answer on that, Scott.
Make a play, cover Mike Evans. I can name a few. Protect your running, your rush lanes. Don't let Baker Mayfield scramble just a few, but I don't have to watch the film to tell you that.
Matching wits with Todd and seeing Baker, on the other sideline and how that played out.
It was a great challenge. It was a great challenge for us, and threw us 2 interceptions, but then just kept battling, and we knew that there was going to be a dogfight. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and Todd certainly knows, this system. He saw it firsthand, and he threw a bunch of difficult things at us, and we were, he caused some problems, and we were able to, capitalize on a couple of the opportunities.
I feel like a few times they just went straight up all out blitz, and Bryce Young handled the pressure. It was perfect. I know they had the 1 sack, but that was it. Saw it last week against Kansas City. Can't talk enough about the growth of Bryce Young being able to do that.
It was going to be a challenge, and that's what we expect week in and week out.
Dave, Eddie and Johnny seem to struggle a little bit early with their kicks. One, how's Eddie feeling? And then what type of feedback did you get from Tracy on those early attempts?
Have to talk to the guys more, but they'll come up here and be the first to tell you they got to execute better in those situations.
Do a couple more.
One thing to note, Eddie Pinheiro, JJ Jansen, and Johnny Hecker are all free agents. Have to feel like that Eddie Pinheiro's field goal percentage also is going to drop. Speaking of bad days, though, Justin Tucker also missing kicks, man. I don't know. He is mentally out of it, and I don't know what's happening. Nolan is a Ravens fan trying to say that they just need to get rid of Justin Tucker.
I guess Caleb Farley on that first kickoff. What happened there on the personal foul? We didn't really get to see it.
I don't know.
I was wondering too, and the broadcast didn't show it, and I thought they were going to show it. That was the one that I was talking about when I was going through the game reaction here earlier. I don't know what happened on the personal foul. I was trying to understand that, but maybe we'll eventually know. I feel like whatever, unless he just straight up decked someone or was attempting to hurt someone intentionally, you have to let that slide. It's overtime. Whenever the time was, you can't let that be a factor.
No, I was not looking directly at what happened there, so I'll have to gather some more information about that. But there were a couple of penalties out there, and again, those fall under the things that we're in control of, and we have to play with composure. You can't give NFL offenses any field position advantage, anything like that. We had him pinned back on a good kick, so on a great coverage and a tackle on that, so we have to make sure that we're just executing and just doing our job and just knowing. Play with passion, yeah, but we got to play smart, and that's a part of what we're trying to do.
I'm sorry. You guys weren't able to get a playoff right before that 2-minute warning. What happened there? Were you trying to get one in, and if so, was there a communication issue?
No, it was a part of it, part of what we were doing.
Okay.
I agreed with that, by the way. I know some folks wanted a play before the 2-minute warning. I thought it was smart. There's no reason to rush. That was a very critical 3rd down. There was plenty of time still left in the game. So I like them taking the approach of waiting to get up to the ball, possibly trying to get a hard count, get them to jump, get a free first down. But I wouldn't have wanted them, knowing that you're going into a 2-minute warning, you get an extra timeout basically to sit down, craft up a play that you're really going to like versus trying to rush it and then coming back either potentially before the 2-minute warning if it's an incompletion or after on a very critical 4th down play. So I agreed with letting that run. I think it made sense.
Offense has played so well the last 2 weeks. Would you say that the one problem left is finishing, that it's just too many field goals, too few touchdowns?
Absolutely. Finish in the red zone. We got to get touchdowns in those situations.
What's wild is before last week, the Panthers were a really good red zone team. I think number 6 in the NFL in touchdowns scored in the red zone. And for whatever reason, things have kind of fallen apart. And I don't know if it's the absence of a Jalen Coker, if it's the absence of a Jatavian Sanders, if it's getting away from the run game, not being able to punch it in. Xavier Legette used to be earlier in the year a really good target in the red zone. I don't know. Don't have an answer.
Really close stuff last week, really close stuff this week. That's just us fine-tuning the chemistry, fine-tuning the landmarks, all those things, just making sure that we finish that way. And then, of course, on the defensive side, to be able to finish the game the way we want to.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Cool, y'all. So we do have the Bryce Young presser. We're getting late. I guess I'll run the Bryce Young presser. I think his is like 5 minutes and then probably call it a night. Hold on, let me change this in case anyone tunes in while we're listening to this. I've not heard that. I mean, I got to listen to it myself, so might as well do this live while we're going through it. We'll listen to this and call it a day.
Question for Bryce.
Bryce, what is the emotion right now after an ending like this one?
It's tough. Coach talked about it to the team. Just finding ways to finish. Throughout the game, there's just missed opportunities, and it comes back. All of us as a team having to own it. It's not. It's easy from the outside. You could look at one play or one. That's not our how we look at it. We all have to look in the mirror, see what it is.
It does feel like it's a defeating loss, man. You can hear it in his voice. I mean, we as fans feel the same thing that he does. There's no easy way around it. And he's shown us on the field the last few weeks a new version of himself, meaning happier. You can see he's more relaxed, just kind of the swagger that you want out of your quarterback. I'm not saying he has to go all out. He's not going to be a Cam Newton out there, but you want to see your quarterback have a little bit of edge to him. And he's shown that. This is tough, man. It's just tough because he did his part, and I know he's not going to blame others because there was missed opportunities everywhere, but it is tough for him to play as well as he did and then come up short like this.
I mean, we know we're there, but that's, there aren't any moral victories. There aren't any. It's a win or a loss, and we didn't get it done. So I think we all just we all have that bitter feeling, and we got to get back to it tomorrow and learn from it.
It looked like on the Chuba fumble, you were running up to the play that maybe you could have dove on the ball. You didn't.
Oh, this is that BS that I am not going to stand for, and I tweeted it out. Bryce Young not falling on the football or trying to get to it in overtime. That was not what you were trying to make it out to be, and that's a BS headline by you-know-who, and I've defended you-know-who, and I'm not going to even give him the time of day. It's slimy. That's BS. Bryce Young played as good as you could play. And the loss and him not falling on whatever that was, no. Not here for it.
I was just curious what your thought.
Just a reaction. Just reacting.
Bryce, it does seem the last couple of weeks like things have really slowed down for you. Another clean game, no turnovers today. I know the win was the most important thing, but just from your perspective, out there operating in the pocket, how much have things slowed down?
Oh, man, that is our man, Kyle Bailey. Boom. Kyle, I just have to take it. I love WFNZ, folks. Kyle Bailey asking a question here. It's good to hear. What's good, Panthers Prime podcast? What's going on, bro? Also, if y'all are looking for Panthers content, Panthers Prime podcast has you covered as well. But sorry, I cut off Kyle in the middle of what he was asking Bryce there.
And what are you seeing out there that maybe you weren't seeing weeks ago?
Yeah, just getting more comfortable in the system. Coach is doing a great job of calling really good things, installing good things throughout the week, and I trust him. I trust the system.
I really think the system is much better, and it's taken a while to kind of get to what it is. But I think even last week, coming off the bye, there were wrinkles in here. It's really opened it up, and for whatever reason, it's given Bryce a chance to get a little more comfortable over the last few weeks.
That, and also just the players around me. O-line, everyone up front is doing a great job. The receivers getting open.
Can't say enough about the offensive line, man. They have been fantastic this season.
Receivers getting open. It's not just me. It's all of us, so I just rely on them, and I'm grateful for that.
Bryce, from your perspective, what did you see on the Thielen play at the end of the first half that was ruled incomplete and reviewed?
Yeah, just playing the game off the DB. Try to fit one in. I'm not a ref. I'm not a replay official. I don't want. Same
thing that I said for Canales. I just wish that is not their personalities for one game. And I know they're going to get fined. I feel like Tepper, open up your wallet, let Bryce Young and Dave Canales rip the officials after this one. Tepper should have came down out of the press box, told Dave Canales and Bryce Young, hey, you know what? Go out there, say whatever you want to say tonight about the officiating. Like, let them just open up, especially about the touchdown. And then, you know what? They're going to get fined. Tepper opens up the paycheck, whatever, writes a check. Just let them for what? It's not going to happen. That's not them.
I don't want to get into speculation. It is what it is. We want to, I can do a better job of helping him. I'm sure if you ask Adam, he'll say he wants to catch it because that's the competitor he is. We all look in the mirror. That's what Coach talks about. So, it would have been great to get 7 instead of 3 there.
With that one-handed catch in overtime, I mean, how much has he added to what you guys are able to do as a passing guy? Adam's been huge for us. Is huge for us to assist so much.
Adam has been a monster, man. His age is not a number for him. I know a lot of people, you wonder if the Panthers are eventually going to move away from him. Like next year, we thought maybe this year. He still gets it. Doesn't matter if he's a step slower. He somehow finds the opening in the coverage. He's there. Bryce Young knows how to get him the ball. He's never going to break away for a big touchdown, which is why I still think you've got to bring another big-time receiver in here to pair along with all the guys that we have, but definitely a playmaker. Ricky said, thank you, CD. Love your content and truth. Keep pounding. Thanks, Ricky. Panthers Prom said, appreciate it. Great content. Appreciate it, man. This one does hurt. Hurts so much. For those that are just now jumping on, we are closing out listening to the Bryce Young presser. I have not listened to it, so we're kind of doing it live.
I have all the trust in the world in him. That's something that play like that in a moment like that, as great as it doesn't surprise me at all. That's something that that's what he's built for. So I'm super grateful. I just want to give him a shot, throw it up there, and that's it.
Does hurt, man. I can't. That was like a Panthers, like, sure, are we making a push for the playoffs? No, but that was like one of those Panthers memories that you just want to carry over. You're like, oh, man, the Adam Thielen catch against the division rival Tampa Bay Bucks. I freaking hate Tampa too, man. I hate all of them. I feel like every time that we come around to New Orleans, to Atlanta, to Tampa, each time, whoever we're playing, I feel like I hate that team even more than the others. And I hate Tampa so much right now.
Amazing catch that he made and the biggest down at the time. So that speaks to the player he is.
In terms of the red zone offense, I know 1 of 4 today in the red zone. Is there anything in particular?
Good question asking about the red zone.
In particular that you can tweak, something you guys can do better to finish down there?
Again, we haven't watched the film yet. We just got to execute better. I think that's really what it is. Again, I look in the mirror, I have to do better. And then all of us have that mindset. We like to focus on us. And at the end of the day, it's a lack of execution from across the board. Again, there's no finger pointing. There's no. We just got to execute. We got to find ways to get 7.
I know they're not going to finger point publicly, but I do hope behind closed doors as they are watching film, they better be, you don't have to finger point, but you better be calling guys out. Hey, why'd you miss this? Why didn't you execute on this? Why didn't we get points here? Why'd you miss that? You gotta have that level of accountability. It doesn't have to be public facing, but guys have to be called out. And the only way you're going to get better.
7 instead of 3, and we're gonna continue to work to do that.
Bryce, will you go through both of your touchdowns, the run and the pass? What specifically you saw on each?
I know Bryce scored on the rushing touchdown, but to be honest, it almost looked like he didn't want to score. I'm not saying he didn't want to run and make contact, but it felt like he kind of was giving up a little bit, and he was going to be content with going down on like the 2 or the 1, and then he kind of sneaks the ball in it was a great play. But when I was watching it live, it didn't feel like a player that was running with an urgency to make sure he scored. It was more of a, hey, you know what? I get the first down or I get this yardage. We're going to be right here. And then he's like, it was more like, oh yeah, just happened to be there. I was close to it. And I said, you know what? I guess I'll kind of drop the ball over and we'll score a touchdown. Good play.
Just opportunity to start the second play on the first one. It's, we talk about that a lot just in the room. So just that opportunity, and then obviously I wanted to get the most out of it. And then again, just a great play by Adam. Also a great job by the O-line. You scrambled a little bit, but I was able to step up and run up, and that's because the line did a great job of creating a lane for me to do that. Again, stuff that you wouldn't think about, but that's a big reason why. So again, just great execution all around. Great job up front. Adam doing a great job of, continuing on his route, finding that zone, finding the soft area, knowing exactly where to be, and then obviously just trusting him to make the catch. Great job. So yeah.
Dave talked about execution. You just mentioned execution. What can you do during the week to kind of clean those things up?
Just have to get, be as focused as we can be during meetings, practice as well as we can, make sure we're getting game reps.
I don't know, man. I mean, you can only focus so much. Just like telling someone, I need you to extra focus. I need you to write this down 10 times instead of 5 times. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just, sometimes it's not your day, not your year. I think you continue to show improvement, like as a team, which is what we're doing. But sometimes when things are stacked against you, as far as talent deficiency, I know we're talking offense, but thinking defense, like there's only so much you can do. Like you can say you're going to study this, this, and this. And I do think there are levels to studying and getting better and working on your reps and taking time after practice and doing this and this, but you can only do so much within the season to really get better to a certain extent. You can't just, hey, if your max bench press is 225, I hate to tell you that you're not going to walk out tomorrow and think that you can do 300 and it's just going to happen. Like you've gradually got to work your way to getting there. And maybe that's what we're seeing, is just slow, gradual development for the entire team.
And yeah, again, we all believe in each other. We all trust each other. We just have to put it together. So, just as competitors, we're always looking to that next play. We all have confidence in each other. Just getting it done. We're blessed to have opportunity next week.
You just talked about Adam Thielen and how he helps you. What does that do when you have those two guys in the backfield like Jonathan Brooks and Joe?
Yeah, 100%. Just having those guys to rely on, to lean on, them making plays like they did. It puts stress on the defense. Definitely makes my job easier. For me and for us as a team, we want to make sure that we can get the ball into everyone's hands and make sure that we can take what the defense gives. And having dynamic guys back there makes it harder.
Given the way this one unfolded, Bryce, would you say this is the most heartbreaking loss that you've had personally? You sound really down at the beginning.
Yep, called out. I knew he was down.
I'm not big on comparing, not big on looking back. But I'm a competitor. We all are. It's not a fun place to be. It definitely hurts. Right now we're all in the moment. Tomorrow we just have to look at it. Just as we would regardless of the result, figure out what we can build and continue to do, and then figure out what we can learn from and correct. Obviously, right now it sucks. Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yes, it does. It sucks for them, sucks for us, sucks as fans. And I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode. And believe it or not, the Panthers are still not officially eliminated from the playoffs. There's still a chance, gradually. New England Patriots are eliminated. Las Vegas Raiders eliminated. New York Giants eliminated. Believe it or not, at 3-9, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but at 3-9, the Panthers could win the division at 8-9 if they win out 5 in a row. So it's still not there. They're technically 3 games back out of Atlanta and Tampa, although things are definitely not in their favor with tiebreakers and all those things. Coming up for the Panthers, and we'll be back with more content, traveling up to Philadelphia. That is a huge game. Not it's not a huge game is like, hey, this is season defining, but it is a really big game. For me, as I look at this team, and we saw what they did at Kansas City, we just saw what they did to Tampa. Both of those games were at home. The Eagles just knocked off Baltimore. They are one of the best teams in the NFL, one of the best teams in the NFC. So for me, thinking through like the future of this team, and is this going to mean everything? No. I'd love to see this team be competitive. It's going to be a very big matchup. It's going to be a lot to overcome, but you do have that coming up. Then the Panthers maybe squeak one out. Have the Cowboys, Cardinals, Bucks, and Falcons. I mean, there's a chance, I think, for them to get to 5 wins, which is what a lot of people probably thought. You look at the Cowboys, I feel like that's probably the most winnable. Arizona should be competitive. It is the final home game. And then depending on the Falcons, if they have locked up the division, they could rest starters, which means, hey, that could be a win in the final week of the season. Let's see. Anyways, one of the other upsides of finishing where the Panthers finished is, although it was a loss, you are putting yourself in good position to, I mean, you got to think about draft now, looking ahead to the draft into next year. So at least find a little bit of positive there. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today. And the live stream, thank y'all for tuning in. It's CD. Y'all have a good one.